First of all, thank you. Thank you for what you do. It's a huge time commitment to give up your Thursday nights, to get up so early on Sunday mornings, and just come and serve. And the attitudes with which you do it, the smiles, the 15 changes that we throw at you, we are just so grateful. I wanted to start off with just the role of a ProPresenter operator. I know you guys are eating, so feel free to eat. You can read through this later. It's kind of the page 1 and 2, actually forward, they're not numbered, in your packet just to look through later. But I found this a while ago and have been waiting for the chance to share it just because I love what it says. As a ProPresenter operator, it's so important that you realize the role that you play in creating the experience for our church. Each position is vitally important. And as you do your role presenting lyrics and media onto the screens during the worship service, we just want you to keep these few things in mind. You are not a button pusher. Like, it is so much more than that. And I know sometimes it can just feel like that in the chaos or the rush of a morning or a rehearsal. You are a worship leader. So we really look to you to be that valuable, person, just valuable asset to the service. So you really are. You have to work in partnership with the worship leaders who are on stage, but you lead the worship, from the computer, and that's just such an important role. In addition to that, you are a lyric leader. It's so important that you lead the lyrics before they're sung. So leading those enables hundreds or thousands of people. I mean, we've been having 800 screens a week, in addition to the hundreds of people at each campus that are coming every Sunday. So as you're leading worship, you are actually leading those lyrics. And if people can't see them, if they're not up in time before, it just creates distractions or barriers. So what you do in listening to the music before you come to rehearsal, being familiar with the songs, being there Thursday night and working through that, you are part of leading those lyrics. And a good rule of thumb, which I think most of us know, but just to reiterate, it really is firing that next slide of lyrics on that either last word, or if it's a really quick transition, maybe the second to last word. Our brains, as we read the lines of lyrics, we know that last word before it comes out of our mouth. So being able to time that, sometimes you've got those transitions where there's a break. So you wait 2 or 3 beats and then put it up. But really, you almost can't go too early. You'd rather have the words there than not as we're singing that song. But I've also heard people say, we don't have hymnals anymore. So this really is the way for people to follow along. So if there is that large break, thank you for taking the time and listening and becoming familiar with the music so that you're having those things up as it times out. But again, I'd rather be early than late. So you are a lyric leader. In addition to that, you're also a reactive leader. So many times you're reacting to change. And a lot of times those changes are being thrown at you, and you react. But the way you react and the way that you serve and the attitude in which you do that just creates more and more team and that unified team that's serving on Sunday morning. So that's important, again, rather than the eye roll or here he goes again. And I know sometimes we joke, and especially Paul, like we'll laugh and but also to compliment and say he's really being led by the Spirit. His heart is in the right place, as well as all of our leaders, to make worship be the best that it can be. And you serve with different leaders every week. So adjusting to who that is and being supportive. So I think that's just really important that we have that positive team attitude and in your reaction. Stay sensitive to the fact that as much as people might look, who's running slides? If we miss something, they're up on stage that whole time. And so the pressure that they feel to craft something to be the best that it can be. So thank you for the way that you react and lead through those times. And then the last thing is also you're not just a reactive leader, but that proactive leader, the way that you can come into a Thursday night, having already listened. Those resources are there in ProPresenter. The more you know coming into even a Thursday, how many bars, how many measures. Some of you are very musical and know those things, and some of you more, it's just feel. And the more you listen to it, the more you're prepared to be able to respond and lead through that worship time. So there are proactive things that you do in ways that you can help. Being here today, being a proactive leader in just taking the investment of a Sunday afternoon that right now it's still beautiful before the rain comes. Thank you for sacrificing your time and coming in. We're just so grateful for that. So you are vital to the success of every worship service and event. So you are a worship leader, lyric leader, reactive leader, proactive leader, and we just are so grateful for how you give your best at every position. After all, the experiences we're creating every Sunday, is what God's using in people's lives to change them for their good and His glory. And so just realizing how important you are. So thank you for that. We're going to do a little hype video. So Daniel, we're going to run the video channel here. I'm going to fire that off just to get us excited. Myself off? There, I turned myself back on. So you probably heard me chewing because I thought I turned it off when I ate the chip. Could you hear me chewing? I'm so sorry. So it just a hype video. We are so excited. We actually made this transition at Rockford on one of the computers, the center computer, almost immediately when we went to live stream because of the capability of what this will allow us to do. And we're just going to kind of go under the hood just a little bit, just so you understand some of the changes that came with upgrading to 7. And the reason we're expanding this out now is because we want to offer that next level for Northview and Ensley as well. April 25th was the first week that we moved across all 3 computers in the back. And with that upgrade, we were able to take our 3 computers back in the Rockford Tech Room down to 2. One of the just coolest things they do is these multiple looks and the way it can send different information to different screens. So you might have heard some of the worship leaders asking or talking about the chord slides that we're able to do back here. And if you've watched our live stream at all over the past couple months, we just love what this is allowing our worship leaders and our band and our vocals to do, getting their eyes up out of the music stands and actually getting them up and just more connected in the way that we're trying to increase engagement with the congregants. So that's just a really cool thing. So you know a little bit about the why behind the change. If you're like me, I can't stand change. Like I know how to do this. I know where to look for this. I know what this does and where to find it. And this transition, they did a big overhaul. And I just want to make sure, Jake, are we good? Is the tech working? Okay, awesome. So just want to start off when you're ready. If you're still eating, enjoy eating. If you're done eating, we're going to start on page 2 of this guide. And I just want to show you in real time, like just sharing my screen with ProPresenter back there, just to walk you through some of these things and the different look. Our goal is to this week be at Northview, be at Ensley, and make this upgrade. So when you come in the next time you serve, whether that's this week or 3 weeks from now, this is what your screen's going to look like. So we want to equip you. We want to set you up to be ready to roll, but we also want to be there to assist you walk through the transition. There are tons of renewedvision.com that's here in the guide. There's a ton of YouTube videos and training things that are out there. So if you get through today and you're like, I'm lost, just email me. I can send you specific links about the things that you'd like to dive into a little bit more, but also just know those are there. This guide is a shortened version of their like 50-page guide. Links to both of these will be on the desktop of each computer at each campus. So if you need help doing something and somebody's not there who can step in and just talk you through it, these guides are here. And then the other thing I just want to offer, if there is ever any time you guys want to get one-on-one, you know, have me come to you, you come here and do a one-on-one training. You're in the middle of a Thursday night and you're like, I don't know how to fix this. Just email me, text me. I can VPN in either when you're there, when you're not there, and just try and walk you through or just fix it for you. This transition it shouldn't be awful, but it's going to be new. So we're here to support you any way that we can. So I just want to throw that out there first. So page 2 basically is, there's some things in ProPresenter, the way that they do them, that we just don't, because we're multi-campus, because we have our stagger teaching schedule involved, where backgrounds are different, you know, between that worship set that's attached to the teaching that's getting exported out to Northview and Ensley the following week. So we've chosen to store media differently than the way ProPresenter does. So just to again, share that with you guys. One thing to be aware of is the Sunday media folder. Are you guys using that on a regular basis, or is that kind of a new concept to anybody? Okay, so same thing. We've got that weekly media folder that's in the Sunday media folder that's on your desktop. If you ever need to drag in a background, if you ever walk in and there's a question mark on one of your screens, and I'm trying to figure out, Jake, how do if I'm sliding this over, there we go, here's a Sunday media folder. So for these slides, in that Sunday media folder, which will be on your desktop, the folder you will most likely need is your weekly media folder. We've got them marked for host, all of our host slides. And can you see this okay? It's big enough? Okay. All of our host slides that we're using are in there, and all you need to do is just drag it and pop it back on, and it will fix any broken connections. If you needed to drag something new in, you can drag it in and just put it in between. Okay. So that's the Sunday media folder. Your host stuff is in there. If you needed a new moving background, that's number 2. We keep those 1 and 2 because those are the things on a weekly basis that you might use. So that's not really changed from 6 to 7. That's the same, but we just want to highlight that again in here, that is where you're going to find media. We don't store it in ProPresenter. Second thing is the library, which we'll get into a little bit more. So we're going to jump right into the next page, which is the interface. Because as you can tell, it looks different than 6. And their idea behind this is you're moving from left all of your storage, your preview screens, and your output, kind of moving in a left to right. So you'll see up here, we've got our library now. and you've got your playlist, where before they were stacked, you could see things in your library and in your playlist at the same time. Now, when you'll need to click between them. So if you're looking for something with your library, that's going to be up at the top and your playlist underneath it. And I'll get into that a little bit more. But number 2 is our toolbar. So you've got your toolbar across. This show button is going to be your best friend. Anytime you go in to edit something, to get back, you've got this show button here, or you've got the show button down here. That'll just show on your output. So this guy will take you back. So that's important. But here, your main output, your preview, everything that you're doing is there. We've got your preview screens up here. And this is important. Again, for now, we're making that upgrade for you guys to get used to the system. We won't throw chord slides at you right away. Right now, you'll just see the one preview window here. When we go to chord slides, you'll have the multiple view here. So you see what's going to your main screen and then what's going to your, we call them confidence monitors or your stage displays. So that'll be important there. Media bin, we're not talking about that because we do it differently. That's our Sunday media folder. And then audio bin. So Glenn, I know you guys use your pads a lot. You can choose to still put your playlists in here, or you can drag them, again, right from that Sunday media folder where the pads are stored. I think they're actually just right here, pads. And you can just drag that onto your screen and play from that way. So whichever your preference is, there's usually multiple options. But the interface, the dark mode, the way things are laid out is just going to feel a little bit different, than what it's been before. And it will take a little bit of time just to get used to that. But I love the way that they're thinking through that cognitively. So the next couple pages just talk through that same thing. With ProPresenter, our grid view is very similar. We've got, that one template or theme that we're using for the main screen slides. One thing that's new, that's pretty cool, is something called a hotkey. So I'm on page 6 in the middle of the page if you're looking. But if you can see these little orange buttons in the top left of those slides, that's a hotkey, which if Paul is leading or someone else is leading and they jump, you can easily click C, which would take you to chorus. And it jumps right to the chorus. First verse, they go back to first verse, you can hit A, and it will jump immediately back to that part of the song. So that's something new within ProPresenter 7 that we didn't have before.
So when you say hit A or C, is that the letter on the keyboard?
Letter on the keyboard, and it corresponds. It's not something you'd have to memorize. Those little orange, if you can see it, yep. So that's an A for first verse, and then that one's a C. That looks like an S. So each time it will give you that little hotkey, and as soon as you hit that letter on your keyboard, it will jump to the next section. Our goal, again, is to have this grid view continuous list that we've set things up for you in the order, so it really is easier. So that's more of a worst case scenario to be able to jump, but that's a little update in 7. Toolbar up here again, we've talked about show, your edit will take you to your edit screen. So there's a reflow editor where you can move things around a little bit differently. I still choose to use the edit mode because it's the way 6 was, and it's the easiest, kind of based on what we've done in the past, what you know. But when you're on and you want to play with things, feel free. There's the Bible app there, and then other editors here, but just to be familiar with where the toolbar is. We started to talk about libraries and playlists. This is a really cool thing. We talked about how the library, you've got the one library. To click that, you can go into your library, but to look at your playlist, your library kind of disappears. So if David Bronkama wants to add Great is Thy Faithfulness on a particular Sunday, and that's not something we had prepped ready to go, you can search it, and I'm at the bottom of 7 now. At the bottom of your library is your search field, and it will bring up what you're searching for. But if you hit Command F, it brings up a floating search bar. And that is it will float wherever you want to put it, whatever you want to look for. And that's a new way, to look for what you're looking for. So Great is Thy Faithfulness. I can be in a playlist, hit Command F to bring up that floating search bar, find what you're looking for, and more easily just drag things in. And so now that's been added to the playlist there. No Bibles installed. Show. Like I said, show will be your best friend. If you're in something and you're like, I don't see what I'm used to seeing, normally just hit show and it'll take you right back. So that's library and playlist. Does anyone have, and please stop me if you have questions. I don't know, we can get like a roving mic if anyone would like to interject and just ask questions as we're going through. Please don't hesitate. But that is a little bit different in functionality in the way that works. The other thing I just want to mention is we're working through that preview area. I'm going to close this out and go. Hey, Jake, how do I get back to, I want to show the left computer now. Go up. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to show you the left computer here, because this again will be what's coming. We won't do it right now for Northview Ensley, for Rockford, for our CG2 operators. You are seeing this right now. So songs from this morning, Be Thou My Vision. Sweet, just to make this a little bit bigger. You'll see the two different, when we're talking about number 5, the preview areas, you'll see the top one is our chord slide preview, and those will be on your back screens, your confidence monitors for band and for worship leader, for guitars especially. And as you move through, you'll see that the chords are above the letters, are above the words there. As we move from slide to slide, that changes. The yellow is your current, and that's purposely bigger. The white is your next slide, so there's a preview of what's coming. And as you move through the song, it just keeps kind of popping up and populating under. And again, what we've absolutely loved about this is just the eyes up and the increased engagement and getting people's eyes out of the books as you move through. So this will be something where you will have main screen output and then chord output at the same time. These will be prepared for you, but as you know, sometimes things change, and so being able to go in and edit that. When we were in the editor on the other computer, we just go into edit slide or edit slide, whatever your preference is. What you'll see now is this note section at the bottom. And that's the part where instead of being Be Thou My Vision, it'll be Thou My Vision C. So working with our worship leaders to work, choosing keys, sticking with things that they're choosing, the prep work that goes in ahead of time when we export these out to you guys, it takes a lot more time to change the keys. And we'll be talking to them, hey, I think it's C or D, but is it okay if I run through both of them? We'll provide both versions to you in both keys if we know that that's coming. We do not expect you on the fly to be like, oh, we put it in A and now they'd really like it in G. At that point, we want to pull out music stands, get through Thursday night rehearsal, let me know I can do that work, on Friday, get it re-exported so it's there for Sunday. As much as that, we'd like to say, okay, like 2 weeks in advance when we're picking songs, you want G or A? Oh, well, I want G. Then you get G. Like that's our goal. But it is a new step. And if you do find that there's a mistake, you need to edit a chord. This is how you do it in that editor view and just going in here, just like you do on the regular slides. You're just editing the note information now instead of this main screen. Any questions on that so far? Typically not. For Northview and Ensley, unless you let us know that there's, and that will probably be a really good new process, because at this point, all of the changes are made here, and so we're using the normal, version, the thing that we've done. What we export to you is what usually matches the Rockford link, that Rockford recording. And for preparation, our hope is that the worship leaders will stick fairly similar to that, because that's just going to, help our band listen and prep. It's going to help resources be correct, when you guys walk in on a Thursday night. But that doesn't always happen. And so we try and note those in our weekly, hey, we're doing Alyssa's version of this up-tempo Be Thou My Vision here this week. Next week, Ben really wants to do a different version, for Ensley. So we're trying to get those resources in. If there's ever a change that you guys are making, at Northview or Ensley, and you're like, okay, we really want to save this we want to have to recall next time, a quick email, a quick text to me, I can VPN in, export that out, rename it, so that it is Zach Eidenberger's, and every time he does this song, he's going to do it different than we did at Rockford, but we don't want to lose the changes we've made to it. Export it, name it Zach's, and then bring it in, to the Rockford library, so that then when we do that in a month or so, we can make sure that matches. So it saves it locally to your guys' computer when you make those changes. So you make them on a Thursday, you come in on a Sunday, it's still there. But the next time we import a new playlist, it overwrites. So that's a really good question. And one of those things, with the multi-site and central, how we're, doing that if you've run into those issues before, new process, just, send me an email or a text and we can make that work better. Have you guys seen that a lot, or is it most of the time things are pretty much where you want them to be? Okay. Yeah.
I guess the thing I'm most worried about is I don't want to screw something up. That's more of my concern when I'm editing stuff. I hope I don't ruin this for all future.
For everybody from here until eternity, this is going to be messed up. Yeah, nope, you are good. When that comes out to you guys, we trust you completely to turn that, to edit it, to manipulate it, to do what you need to so it matches what your teams are going to be doing. There is a note in here when we get to arrangements, we'll talk through that a little bit more, that if it is so different, our normal is not your normal, it is totally fine to create that new arrangement, name it Northview Zach. And we can talk through how to do it that way if that's something, but again, we would still need to export that, get it into the Rockford database so it's there for you next time. So if any major wholesale changes, happy to do that. It'd be a good process. Cool. Any other questions on that? We'll delve into that just a little bit more in a couple minutes. Number 6, I think we're up to number 6. Did we do audience looks? Okay, this, for Rockford specifically, these audience looks, I think we talked about how we were able to take it from 3 computers down to 2 for Rockford. And one of the reasons we can do that is because we're able to apply a look to something. It's really only necessary if you have 3 or more. I think Northview and Ensley, you guys will have the 2 for now. But to know about it, to know a little bit about what's under the hood, because if we do go to live stream or we go to a split screen, you end up adding main screens in the future at different places. What this allows us to do is be very, very specific about what is sent to what screen. So we'll talk about that. Audio bin, I already kind of touched on when we just were hitting the interface. But even, I know Ensley, you guys are using that audio bin, have used it for Kids Week and just all kinds of different things that are going on. That won't change very much. It's more the location. So on the screen, we don't have audio set up in here, but this is where you would just drag in your pads if you want to play them out of ProPresenter, or you can drag them to the slides. For Kids Week, this is where you're going to have your playlist of all the worship time, you know, Vicky for us, for, you know, kids camp and teen camp, anything that we have tracks that we want to fire out of ProPresenter, this is where that will go. While we're down here, I know that they talked about the toolbar. We're already on 7.5. When this came out, it was 7. And they've already had 5 little updates. And one of the things that happened in the update is part of the toolbar in your picture of your toolbar is up here, but they moved it down here to make things more accessible. So you can click on your audio bin. You can click on your looks there. Your timers are here now. I don't even know what that one is. Oh, that's messages. So you can add, you know, your messages there, and props. Jake, will Northview and Ensley, will their timer be in a prop like it is for Rockford? Okay. So that was one change. We used to have our timers up here, and you'd have to pull that up, and it would like sit up there forever, and you couldn't like move it, and it would just be annoying. We have the timer down here now as a prop that you turn on or off just by clicking it. So that will be something that's a little bit new there. So I started to talk about, we're on page 11, screen configuration, the audience versus stage. This is going to come in really handy. We want to give you guys a few weeks to be working with Pro 7 just the way you're working now. So it will just be your main screen slides. That same look will go to your main screen, it'll go to your confidence monitors, nothing will change. We just want to give at least a rotation of everybody kind of working through. I know we need to make a hardware upgrade. So as soon as we can do that, then we'll be moving to this to the two looks. It'll be your main screen, and then it will be your stage or confidence looks, and that's where the chord slides are going to come in. Just one other thing under the hood, which I think it's not a change, is your components or your layers on page 12. Just so you know the different pieces that are on top of each slide. If there's a moving background, that media layer, that's the very base layer. Your slide or any text, when we put lyrics on top of that, or we put a welcome on top of that, that's another layer on top of that media. They have a new announcements layer that you can turn on or off when you apply a look to a particular slide. That announcement layer is something that we can send that to like the lobby, that announcements just keep rolling while something else is showing, you know, in your auditorium or in your worship center. So there's like a whole nother capability there that's got some fun stuff with it. And then as we talked about the props, those props are messages. That's that very top layer. So when you put a timer on top of something, you're clicking that on, you can click that off, and everything else underneath it just stays the same. Messages, if you needed, hey, pager number, we can start using that instead of, I know we have our little screen here. But it just opens up a lot of possibilities. So any questions that's like a fire hose, of just kind of, here's the base of the software and things that look a little bit different.
Is there an easier way to access those looks planes, or is that just the shift and run?
Yep, so there is an easier way. Edit looks, so under screens and edit looks. And so I'm going to go back into our other, oops. Say it again, Jake. That green. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the other screen so that you can see a little bit more about the looks that we have. So, and our hope is that all of this is set up for you. That when you come in, the looks have been applied, everything should run the way we want it to, the way that you want it to. But we want to give you this little preview of what's under the hood because we want to equip you. If you come in and something's not working right, to be able to open up this guide and get under the hood a little bit more. So you can do what they're talking about, or you can go to screens and edit looks. And what we've got this lower third, we have the messages layer. We have that clicked, that we want that to go to our lower thirds. We want our presentation to go. And you can apply, what's coming up here is the template. You guys, the word it was called templates, where you would apply that specific template. Now in ProPresenter 7, it's called themes, but you can choose what lyric style, what theme you want, to be on that particular look. So for us, our lower thirds for live stream, we've applied that theme, and it puts all the lyrics down at the bottom of the screen. If you've watched it all, or you've been here in person 2 month and a half, we've been doing center lyrics. And so that is a specific theme that moves all the lyrics up to the top of the screen. And so your band's here, lights are here, and above, right at the top of the back of the cyc, this screen is actually up. And just that back wall, we're projecting like a top third. And then we have a different look, a different template that goes to our 2 side screens. So it just gives so much more capability. And again, for Northview, for Ensley, as we grow, as we make changes there, those different looks can be applied to your different outputs as well. So you've got side projectors, center projectors, those things that we just talked through. And again, that's only necessary if we're going 3+. So for Northview Ensley, we're going to be at 1 starting next week. And when we make that hardware upgrade, we'll be at 2. You'll have your main screen and your chord slides, and those will all be done for you. You won't have to apply or really mess with the looks. But if something doesn't look right, this is where to go in and take a look at it. Screens, edit looks, and then again, clicking on or off. Do you want your slide going there? Do you not want your slide going there? So just a little bit of the capability that offers. We hope you don't ever have to use that. Awesome. So I guess the biggest thing for you guys, so I just want to talk through what has changed, what's different, what does it look like. If you run into these issues, these are the places to go and look. And at any point you need help, holler, scream. We'll come running. Cool. So yep, Glenn? Do you want real life examples with like specific looks or more like songs?
The one you're using right now, how would you change the background?
Okay, so let me go back into screens. and edit looks. Let me do an output here, and I'm gonna go into like a real song that we used this morning. So 5:30, 5:23. So be thou my vision. What you'll see, and my eyes are so bad, and this is so small. So you've got your side screens here. This is the output that's going right now for the look of the center. So that's at the top, and then we've got the lower third. Right now, we only want the background on the side screens. We don't want the background going to the center because we want it just black and white, just on the cyc. And we don't want the background, that media layer, we don't want that going to lower thirds because it would cover up the IMAG. It would cover up the video of the people who are on stage. But let's say we wanted that background to go to the center. We wanted to pull down the center screen, and we wanted that to be there that week. We could go into screens, edit looks, and the center projector, you'll notice that media is unclicked, or this. So if I go there, you'll see in that middle screen, that media just populated. So if I unclick it, it goes away. So real life example of where we want that to go that particular week. And let's say I wanted to change and have it be, a different theme. I could do that here as well.
Are you changing what the worship team is seeing as monitors, or are you changing what the congregation is seeing?
So this look is center projector. So I'm only changing this center projector. So I'm only changing what's going to that space. So top preview is our side screen preview. That's here. If I uncheck the slide, lower thirds. That'll take the lyrics away if I didn't want that. It would take the background away if I don't want that. So it just controls that one particular look. Does that make sense?
Well, in Northview, we've just got the one screen, so it's not going to apply to us.
Correct.
So what everybody is seeing is just what we're showing them as far as background and the lyrics on top.
Correct. And if I'm correct, Jake, when Northview and Ensley, they would have this look, and it's set up that the media, the slide, if there were one week where you wanted a different template, you could go in here and it would change everything, for you. But you just won't have to change them because it really is just the two. Correct. Main screen and chords.
What is in that presentation there?
Presentation would be your song and so that's the look of your presentation. So for us, we really only manipulate the lyrics, the way that the lyrics look, top, lower, center. But there's so much more that ProPresenter can do. You can set up, like some of these looks, I think they have some of this stuff preloaded, stock things. You can make them look, you can put the text box around it. I mean, there's just like so many different options that.
I think those are the layers on page 12 on the bottom.
Okay.
I think that's what it goes to.
Okay.
Yeah, so media slide, that presentation really gives it what your slide looks like, what your lyrics look like.
Okay, so we're running through practice, and Alyssa doesn't like the background of that slide. Starts tickling and screaming and throwing things. Yeah.
That Alyssa, someone's got to, oh wait, we're doing the eye roll.
So she wants a waterfall as the background on that song. How would we do that?
So I probably wouldn't go into looks. What I would do is I would go into the Sunday media folder, and I would go into weekly media, into your motion background folder. The look of that week, what's been selected for that week is going to be in there under the date. So all the moving backgrounds, it changes view to columns so you can see it. Whoops. The looks for that week are here. And I would start and say, Alyssa, I know you're not fond of that background. Can you take a look at these real quick? Do you see anything that's chosen within the theme? Do you like any of these for your moving background? And if she's like, no, I want a And I'm just joking. That would be my wine. That would not be Alyssa's. We're picking on her, but if that were to come up, then I would text. I would text me. I would, hey, we'd really like a waterfall for this week. We'll find a moving background waterfall and give it to you. Yep, I can drag it right there and change that like that.
Now she wants to double up the lyrics on slide 4.
Double up meaning sing them twice. Okay, that's going to get into arrangements. So put a pin in that. That's where we're going, because that's going to be, and I apologize, I probably took way too much time under the hood, but just wanting you guys to understand this is what this puppy can do. Not that you'll necessarily have to do all that on a weekly basis, but just to understand some of like where things are, what they're called, what's different. Working with slides starting on page 13, here's our nitty gritty weekly, those kind of scenarios and what we want to do. So that's great. Any other questions? Or Jake, anything I'm leaving out? If I'm talking too much about something, just say, Christy, shut up. They don't need to know that. I'm good with that too. Yeah, and that's that hardware adjustment that we'll need to make, to be able to do those chord slides, and probably a bigger screen. I mean, that's something else we've been talking about to be able. So our screens, if you turn around and look in the back, and I'm trying to remember how deep, each of our worship centers are compared to here, and to get to that throw, the font size and what people can read from being up on stage. Those are all things that Jake and Daniel will be kind of meeting with Ben and meeting with you and David and kind of figuring out what we need to make happen to make this really viable and useful. So, awesome questions. Anything else? And I don't want to take forever. I can't see the clock. Is it 1:22? 1:33? Okay. Cool. So moving right along, slide editor. This is the nitty gritty. This is the fun stuff. And again, like I have chosen, there's other ways to do it. Alyssa, tell me if you've done anything different, but I like the edit. I like that edit button. am I moved over here? I like being able to, I'm a control click, left click, right click person, and all of these still are here. So going into edit slide, you've got your text here, being able to change, edit that, edit your notes when you do get chord slides. That really hasn't changed much, other than you just need to hit the show button, to get back. There's not the little X there that you normally would click out of and get back. It's just that show button at the top. Yeah.
When you showed that, were you on the slide that had,
Nope, that was the background slide.
just wiped out all the text and you have to know what was there to edit?
Yep, nope, sorry, that was the background slide that we were playing with. So yeah, so that's there. Slide that over. Okay. So the lyrics, the chords, those kinds of things, same, just click show to get back. Themes, we started to talk about that. You can either just click, and I think I show that as the example at the bottom of 15. And I don't know why I didn't know this, but I used to hit like one slide in the song and then hit Command A to select all the slides and apply a theme. Watching these tutorials and learning about 7, you can actually choose all of if you needed a different theme one particular time, you can choose all 3 songs. Control click. Actually, theme editor. Which is up here. Go into your lyric styles and apply. This week I want, we did for Mother's Day, we had the gray text. So you can do that.
Applies multiple attributes, correct? You got like multiple things that you set up previously.
Correct. Yep. So just the biggest thing I think to remember there, the change to 7 is that they're no longer called templates, they're called themes. But just a little helpful tool is that you can, select multiple things at the same time and apply them that way. So I'm going to turn them back white. I don't think it likes that I'm on remote. Cool. Groups and arrangements. This is the fun part. And I wish I could say that ProPresenter 7 made it easier. It didn't. That is the same. But there's a couple little tips that we found. So Glenn, going back to your example. So at the end of the first verse, we're going to sing it normal the first time, and then we're going to repeat the first verse the second time, but we're going to sing this slide twice at the end of the second time we sing the first verse. So is that a good example? And this is the kind of stuff that comes up on a regular basis on Thursday when you have somebody leading it at Rockford one week and then somebody different leading it at another campus, when we stagger it. So if you have to do edits like I just showed you, you do that in the editor. You're changing words, those are simple changes. You can do that within your arrangement. If you're going to do something structural to the song, you want to be in the master. Okay. And so this looks different again because it's 7, but you've got your groups up here. We like to call them pieces or Lego pieces. And then, in the master, you're just seeing your Lego pieces. When you go to an arrangement, you're seeing what order those pieces have been put in. So this song is a great example. We've got, 3 different versions that we've done. And it just means those Lego pieces are in a different order. So we want to do what we just talked about. We want to repeat the first verse, but we want to repeat the last slide of the first verse. At the end of the second time we go through that, the best thing to do is go into your master, hold down Command, and click all of the slides that you want. Copy and paste them. Puts them down at the end because it's a new piece that it's just adding to the end of your Lego pieces. And then you want to assign it a new group. So we go under groups. We've got verse 1, verse 2, title and verse 3. So this one is named title and verse. We're just going to do this other one as verse 1. And so now you'll see it made that new Lego piece. But wait, I'm not done. I wanted to do that one twice, right? So I'm going to copy again and paste it. It automatically connects it to your last Lego piece that you're working on. Cool. So now we've got our new verse the way we want it. Let's see, my light, and I want to put an exclamation point on the last slide just so it's different. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my arrangement. So we've got our master, we've got our Lego pieces, and now we've got the specific arrangement that we're trying to change. So I'm going to take my new Lego piece and I'm just going to drag it where I want it to be. So we've got our background, we've got our title and verse, which is just the normal, and then we've got our verse 1 that repeats this last slide with the exclamation point. And now I'm going to go back to the master and I'm going to delete that because I don't want that there. So the best way that I've found just to remember that is you have a box of Legos, you've got a blue, a green, a white, and a yellow, but you don't have a black piece, and you need a black piece to make your Bumblebee Lego guy, whatever. There you go, Batman. So you first need to make that new Lego piece, and you got to do that in the master. And then you need to put it together the way that you want it to look in that arrangement. if we're in a situation where, okay, Zach wants to do this funky thing with this song, I'm probably, I'm going to make a new arrangement. And I'm going to name that arrangement Zach, funky thing. Okay? So there's the new arrangement, and it just basically, it says, okay, here's all your Lego pieces, have fun, go to town. So here's my title and verse. He's going to put a break after the first verse. Verse 2, he's going to put another break. So I'm going to I need 2 of them. There's only, 1 in the master. But I need another one. So I'm going to take that down and put that second break after verse 2. Verse 3, he wants, another break. This is going to be a really long version of this song. Okay? And you can move those Lego pieces around. Oh, now he wants like an interlude that says, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I got to go back to my master. I got to make a new Lego piece. I got to type whoa into it. Once it's in the master, then I can drag it down into the arrangement and play with it from there. So does that kind of make sense?
So back to the previous question, you made all these new Lego pieces. Does that stay with the song forever now?
Nope. It will stay in your song from Thursday night to Sunday night. And then on Sunday, if you're like, this is something I want to use again, send me an email, send me a text. Because the next time we import that song from the Rockford library, it's going to write over what you just did. We export the whole kind of morning as a the way that it was done before, or the way that we know it wants to be done. But unless we know this is new and we want this saved, we won't have it in our database. No, because so let's say it's Be Thou My Vision, and you guys do that for Zach, this week, but you don't tell us that, hey, I made this new arrangement. The next time we do Be Thou My Vision, we're building it out of the Rockford library, and then we're exporting it, and it writes over your Northview library. So now those new things that you made are no longer there. But the way to fix that is super easy. Just anytime you have a wholesale change, anytime you have a new arrangement, you have something you're like, we do not want to lose this. This is something we do, and we've done this work, and I don't want to do it again next time. Yep. What we would do is we would take your version now of Be Thou My Vision. I would export that and then import it into the Rockford library. And then that way, those new pieces, that new arrangement is part of our master library. And next time Zach is up and he's like, hey, I want to do Be Thou My Vision again, but I want my version. Boom, it's right there. We choose that, and then we export it out to you guys, and it has all the Lego pieces. It has his arrangement in his order, the way he wants it. So, and again, our goal, as much as possible, is to align. Because again, when we export those, not export, I'm using wrong language, when we send out that Rockford link, and here's your roadmaps, we really want to use those as tools for the band, for the vocals, to prepare for you to know, hey, this is where that break is. I'm listening to this. This helps me learn it better. So when I come in Thursday night, I know how long to hold on this interlude because I've listened to it from last week. That would be a perfect world, but we're not robots. We're not the same across all campuses. We have chosen to have a model of worship where, there is freedom within that. There's expression from who's leading to who's leading. So we know that that's not going to happen every time, and we want to work with you guys as much as possible to make life easy, not really hard.
When you kind of created that new arrangement, that little Lego, that black Lego piece down there at the bottom, you had a list of things to choose from as far as a name.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to use one of those, or is there a way to make a new name, like verse 1 extra, in case there was only a verse 1?
Correct. So new group. So when you go to the group and you're going through this, you'll see all the choices, and if it's not there, like verse 1, I just did this in the example, I think, in here, we did like the half chorus. So some songs, there's choruses, but the first time we just want to do half of the chorus, and then we'll come back, and there's not a half chorus made. That was what I used for the example. The way to...
It's at the top.
Okay, so the half chorus is there. I was going to say, I thought I just made that. That wasn't there. And so the way to make it, just for example, like if there's something else you want to name it, throw out a name. My brain is fried. What? Woes. Okay. So let me back up just to talk through. So here you've pretend this is, well, here, let me do it. Let's go back to the master. Okay, we need a woe thing. Okay, here's your, this is good because it's in here, but I'm just talking too much. Down here is this little plus symbol. And this was in ProPresenter 6 too, but just in case you haven't run across it, here's the quickest way to add a new slide. When you're in the element, you're clicked on anything in that element. This song is an element. You just click that plus, add new slide. And it just pops in a slide at the end. This is what I want to edit now. And I want to put my woes. Oh man, but that's not the template I want. I want it to look like the rest of the slides in that song. So I'm going to go back to show. This is selected. It was selected, it was blue. Go up to my themes. Okay, and I want the white main lyrics. So I'm going to apply that theme. And it's not loving me today. Where'd it go? I guess I did. Sometimes there's ghosts. Command S save. Is it because I'm remote? I'm going to do it again. Plus, add new slide, edit slide, woes. So you can do it here. I wonder why it didn't do it from here, but I'm going to try this way this time. Themes, magnify lower thirds, which is just, we got to fix our templates. White main lyrics. There. So now I've got my new Lego piece. I've got it looking the way I want it to look. Now I'm going to give it a different group name. So I go back to groups, preferences. So it's not in here. There's nothing called woes, but I want to name it woes. Click preferences, and it brings up kind of what all the choices are, and you want to add a new choice. And I'm going to call this woes. And I'm going to make it purple because I like purple. So again, most of this stuff should be done for you. That's our hope. That's our goal. And I know you're on once every 3 to 4 weeks. This is, and that's what this is for. So those kinds of things, I don't think the preferences thing is in there about how to add. I can add that if you guys think you'll use that often, if that would be helpful.
Like sometimes there'll be a break that they're holding that out, and by going to the next slide, I feel like I'm preempting the congregation to go ahead and start singing those next lines. So within that arrangement, sometimes there's not that break.
Cool. That's a great example. And that is a great one where that whole idea of you want the lyrics there before they start singing, but they don't have hymnals in front of them. They don't have sheet music in front of them to know that this is a 4-measure break. So being able to put that break slide in, give the congregation just confidence that, okay, I'm not supposed to be singing. Leading them, being a lyric leader, putting that slide up. So that would be that same process, but there will definitely be a break. And a lot of times now, as we're going to the chord slides, There'll be called a turnaround for when it like loops back into the next, there's instrumental 1, instrumental 2. You'll notice as we start moving these slides through this new process, things are named a little bit more specifically, because before we used to say, oh, it's a break. Great, it's a break, it's a break. No, now there's like 4 different kinds of breaks because there's different chords being played during this break versus this break versus this break. So hopefully you won't run into that as much, because we're being much more intentional about what's on the confidence monitor for our band, that's being improved. And not that it was bad before, we didn't need it before, but it's a good question. But this would be that same process. If you needed something to add in, just add that slide, type onto it what you want to be there, apply your template or your theme. Okay, and then you've got, right now, because I'm not going to rename it, but you're going to see this woes thing is a two slide group now. I'm going to name it. Let me see if I can find it. It's purple. Where'd it go? Up at the top. So there's my new group called woes, or break, or whatever it is that your new Lego piece is. And I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to drag that in where I want it to be. Awesome sauce. Any other questions about the groups or arrangements or Lego pieces?
You had woes as the last slide, and it automatically put CCLI on there. Is that a function of the template or the group?
Function of the preferences within ProPresenter. So we do that. That's just kind of a format that we always use. It's been helpful, just, it lets people know the song's done. But it also keeps us in compliance with our license to have it up there. We've just chosen to put it last. So when it was in the master, it was the last piece in the master. When I put it in the arrangement, now it's going to be on the outro. Mm-hmm. And so that's a preference. It's another thing under the hood, just there. Cool. Any other questions or any other examples? Would you guys like to see that a few more, like other examples of that? Just go through that a few more times, because that's probably the biggest request you guys get on a Thursday night, right?
Can you go over when you did the alternate verse 1?
Mm-hmm.
When you said you copied all of verse 1 and then you pasted it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do something, I can't remember if you did something special when you pasted it so it made it go to the bottom and not continuing.
Yeah. That's probably just a ProPresenter default. Anytime that you're doing copy and paste, it will put it at the end of the song. So that's just kind of a default. It will just pop down there. Let's pick another song. Like God, You're So Good. This was crazy because every time we've done this song in the past, the words do not change on the chorus. It's just, God, you're so good, God, you're so good, God, you're so good, you're so good to me. Super simple, like lyrics. But now that we've started doing chord slides, we had to create chorus 1 because chorus 1 leads into the verse. When we do it again, chorus 1, it's the same chord at the end of chorus 1 that leads into chorus 2. Where am I? Am I in the master? Was it this song? What song was it? I'm losing it. Are my eyes that bad, or are those all the same choruses? Oh, I'm in the right. That's why. Let me come to the left. Okay, God, You're So Good. This is a great example. We made that song our normal way. Choruses are all the same because the words are all the same. I export that to where I'm making the chord slides, which is on the left computer, and now I'm making the chord slides, and I'm seeing that there need to be different chords. This one ends in A sus, because it goes into, am I in the right verse? Yep, goes into verse 2. Okay, this one ends with the A sus, goes into chorus 3, but it's got an A versus an E in it. So same words, again, different chords within the chorus itself. And just depending on where that chorus is, it leads into something different. So this is where I just took chorus 1 when I'm making the chord slides, went to the master, took that chorus, selected them all, copied, pasted. That time I put it right next to it. But I know where it is. So there's the 3 slides there. This is the new one. Oh, it's because I did it. New group. And I'm going to name this one chorus 4 because there's already 3 choruses in there. So I think it actually did it because I was in the arrangement as opposed to the master, that it pasted them right at the end of what I was in.
Put it into the group that you were pulling it from, so it made that group.
Correct. And it would do that every time, unless you put the new group name on it. Instead of the chorus having 3 slides, it would have 6.
But then you just selected the 3 slides you wanted to assign.
Correct. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's the start of the new one if that happens. But I think if you make it in the master, it puts it down at the bottom. Nope, it did it there too. Maybe that song just doesn't like it. I don't know why. That's a good question. Jake? So, but I'm going to delete those ones out. And I'm going to delete 4 out. Yes. ProPresenter 7 auto saves. However, ask Jake, I am constantly still hitting Command S. So ProPresenter 7 auto saves. It doesn't hurt it if you hit Command S, just like with 6. Good question. That is a beautiful thing. I do too. I can't help it. So where are we? We are up to, we're in the master. Page 17 talks about that little plus sign, the little adding. And then also, again, the groups here. You can see at the bottom where it says preferences, but I didn't go as far to say, here's how to name a new group. So I will update that. We talked about the backgrounds. So that's the bottom of 8 or 18. Media properties. And I think, Steve, did you have a hand up? Did you want to ask something on that before we move?
It does kind of go back to the library question. Probably you switched over to the left computer to demonstrate this last thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 different libraries as well. So if we're looking for a song, are we looking in 2 different libraries? Or how does that go?
Only because it's Sunday afternoon. So as soon as, our process has been making them in the 2 different computers because we just upgraded the right computer, which right now is still named the center, which used to be the center, which is now moved over to the right because we went from 3 to 2. It's super confusing. But starting this week, we will be across all 3 campuses with 7. Poor Alyssa, she's had to be making the your playlist. She has to make them on our old right computer, which is like in a corner now, making them in 6 because she would have to export Northview and Ensley as 6 because your 6 wouldn't read 7 files. So we've been straddling across these 4 different computers here for a couple weeks. So starting this week, they'll all be symbiotic. What I've been doing on Monday is going from the left, exporting and overwriting the stuff in the one, that we use to make the new ones for a couple weeks. But that's a good question. And I did that because I wanted to show the chord differences that we ended up with. We started with one chorus, in this particular song, and by the time we're done with the chord slides, we now have 3 choruses in that song. Same words. Words are exactly the same, but it's the chords that changed. And that's something that, again, will be part of our process and part of your process then as we've expanded that. Paul might say, oh, that's the wrong chord. Hopefully, if it's a song we just did the week before, we figured that out and fixed it. But if we didn't, that's going to be where you guys come in and use that editor in that little note section. You might need to make a chorus too, because it's something we didn't catch or we didn't do that song the week before. So that's really good to know how to do that and edit the chords. And again, Thursday nights can be hectic. So that's where, again, just very open-handed to say, I'm just lucky we got through the songs, tonight. I don't have time to fix this. Christy, on Friday, can you VPN in? And, this is what I need. I need a second version of the chorus, but look at the chord chart, or look at the music. It's different chords, and it needs to go before we go back into the bridge. Like if you can just take little notes, like that, send it to me and I'll fix it so things are set by Sunday. Any other questions? I know we're hitting our mark. I wanted to get you guys out by 2, but I also want this to be useful. I want it to be something that equips you, empowers you to do the amazing stuff that you do. So if there's other questions, ProPresenter 7 will be upgraded and will go live at Northview and at Ensley this week, but not chord slides. It'll be the exact same outputs, no different looks, nothing funky there, but it will be it will look different on your computer screen. It'll look like this. You can download a free version of ProPresenter 7. They have it for Mac or for Windows. The only thing it won't do is if you try and project it, it'll put a watermark over it because it's not the paid version, but they've made it available for people to practice or test out or just play with. If you choose to do that and you want us to send you, actually, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to send you a link to a ProPresenter playlist that has songs and stuff in it. If you have time and you want to download the software and import the playlist, which is on page 6, you can import that playlist into your free version of ProPresenter and you can play with it to your heart's content. Try editing, try changing things, try creating new Lego pieces, try making new arrangements. You can play with that all you want to. But I'll send a follow-up email to this and that'll have those links in it for you to be able to download and import.
Were you notified that we're outdoors next week?
Yes. Yeah, so actually you won't be playing with the new one. Say that again? You'll go live June 6th. We have printed lyric sheets for you guys for next week since you're outside. I didn't hear back. What's Don doing? No slides for teaching?
I'm assuming no.
Okay.
She's got a big projector for the sky or something.
Awesome. Any other questions, guys? Jake?
That might be the only one uses it, but could you show them what that little T icon is in the bottom right? It's next to a little.
Ah,
If you have a hard time seeing, you click the little T that shows the text. If there's like a background under, it'll hide the background. And if you click the little 3 little dots.
let me go into the other, because it doesn't look very different from the chord slide one. It looks really different when you're on here. So here's our grid view. I like it because you can see what it's going to look like out there. This T is called Easy View. And what it does is it doesn't show any of the backgrounds, doesn't show the theme, template, doesn't show any of that, but it does make the text bigger to be able to more easily read it as you're running it. You do still have your preview screens over on the right, so you can see what the outputs look like there. So you're welcome to use that if that's more useful to you. And it's this little text view, or it's called Easy View. I don't know why they put a T.
And then the three little dots inside the circle, if you click on that, you can change the size of the text.
That's only for me.
That's just for you. Yeah, no one else sees that.
That's what I was just going to ask. I was like, do we want them changing the text? We want the theme, right? But this is just so for here, I can bump it up bigger. Oh, I have horrible eyesight. I'm getting old.
Will it import PDFs yet?
Say that again?
Will it import PDFs yet?
Import PDFs. I don't think so. I think just JPEGs. I don't know.
How many last-minute PDFs?
Really?
Save as JPEG and then import it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think so. Do you think so, Jake? PDFs?
No, slides for, yeah, we have weddings and funerals, and we use this for all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think so, but you can copy and paste from a PDF. So you're talking about like a song, lyrics?
No,
Graphics. Okay.
document or anything that they want displayed in there.
Okay. That reminds me of one thing. This freaks me out, this view. So I'm going to switch it back to grid. Sorry, Jake. I am such a creature of habit. It's awful. One other real quick thing that I learned, again, just doing some of the research, and I shared with Emily. Alyssa, I don't know if I shared this with you, but if you're ever in a position that you've got too much text on a slide and you want to split that text into 2 slides, put your cursor where you want the break to happen, and you hit Option, Return. And what that does is it splits it up and it makes 2 slides out of 1. Option is a Mac button. So you'll have it on your iMacs, but not at home probably if you're not on a Mac.
So it's option and then what?
Option, Return.
Okay.
Edit, Undo. We'll put it back. But that just, we found out, like sometimes, and especially like weddings or stuff like that, you've got songs that aren't in our library and you're just trying to copy and paste and you've got like 24 lines of text. You can just keep putting the cursor, Option, Return, and it will make all the slides really quickly. So cool. My last little tidbit for the day. Any other questions? You guys, thank you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for being here. Ben?
Are you concerned about the woe slide that got away? Is that going to show up someday? Or
Probably. The woe slide that got away. Wasn't it Be Thou My Vision? But in the left computer? I will fix that. Thank you for that, because that would be bad. Be like, whoa? What? What did I do that in? I think did I delete it? I don't know, I'll find it. I'll look for it. I can see it better back there. Awesome. Any questions, you guys? Thank you. Thank you for being here. I will send out a follow-up email with some links, one to Renewed Vision to download, a link to a playlist you can import and play with. I'll update this to have that preferences to put the group thing on it. And if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Just super, super grateful for you guys. Thank you. Hey, Qdoba go. Love it.